$5,000, Luke. And another 10 when we get to Denver. After you kill the girl.
I don't know. Killing a man is one thing, but killing a woman is something else.
Now, look, I've known you a long time. You haven't got that much conscience.
You haven't got that much money. Where are you going to get another $10,000?
Now, don't you worry about that. Pretty soon I'm going to be worth $200,000. I'm offering you a very good price, Luke.
Why not kill the girl right here in Kansas City?
The police know you here. In Denver, they don't. You've never been to Denver, have you?
No chance of my getting caught, huh?
No chance. I tell the police that a man with a beard and mustache tried to rob us. I try to fight him off, and the girl gets shot accidentally.
That sounds pretty good, all right. If nothing goes wrong...
It won't. The stage arrives at night. Man and woman walk down a dark, deserted street. We can't lose.
Folks, hope you had a nice trip. Welcome to Denver.
Thank you.
Oh, the train ticket.
Of course.
Before my trunk comes, did you say?
Oh, just a few days.
Oh, my clothes are in it. Oh, I suppose it doesn't matter. I don't think I'll need them here.
Drunken miner.
Well, likely.
Well, you dirty double...
Get a doctor, quick. My wife's been shot.
She's dead.
Dead? He tried to rob us. I thought I could fight him off.
Did you just get off that stage?
Yes. My wife and I came all the way from England to see my mother.
Then you must be Paul Landers. Your mother said you were coming. You recognize him, George?
Nope. Isn't that a terrible thing, them coming all the way from England to run into this?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'll be all right now.
Go ahead, I'll take the bags in.
Where's your wife?
Something happened.
It's so late, we thought you missed the stage, Mr. Landers.
Where's my mother?
She's in the living room. She just wouldn't go to bed. Insisted on waiting up for you. Paul? Paul, is that you? It's nice of you to help him, Mr. Smith.
Oh,
Hello, Mother.
Oh, I thought this day would never come.
It's wonderful to see you too, Mother.
It's been such a long time. 14 years. Madge, darling, where are you? Madge?
Mother.
Didn't you bring her, Paul? In your letter you said...
Mother, please sit down.
Luke Monroe. Name's unfamiliar. You wanted anywhere?
I checked with the Kansas City police. That seems to be where he's from.
Oh, it's a beautiful necklace. It's worth plenty, I'll bet.
Found this in Monroe's hotel room.
What's in it?
Didn't look.
How'd you find out where he was staying?
Mac over at the stage station. Monroe came into town a couple of days ago, said he had never been in Denver before. Asked Mac to recommend a hotel.
Brand new $100 bills.
You see one of those.
Gotta be counterfeit. Man with that much money don't go around holding up people in the street.
Looks all right to me.
Issued by the Bank of Denver. Maybe Mr. Gallagher can give us a lead.
Let's see now. Yes. Here we are. According to the ledger, this money was dispersed within the month.
From here?
From anywhere in Colorado Territory. We ship currency in exchange for gold to every bank in the area.
Any way of finding out which bank it came from?
Well, yes, but it'll take a day or so.
I'll leave it here with you. $4,700.
All right. I'll give you a receipt for that, Tom. There you are. You know, it's too bad Mr. Landers resisted the robbery. He could have afforded the loss, whatever it was.
You know him?
Only from what his mother told me. He married a very wealthy English girl. And Mrs. Landers herself is worth, well, at least $250,000, which she's giving to him, lock, stock, and barrel.
Given to him? What's she gonna live on?
And she's going to live in England with him.
Wouldn't think Landers want to go back there now. All that money, can't bring his wife back, can he?
Thank you for bringing it, Mr. Smith.
You're welcome, Mrs. Landers.
I'm sure Paul will wish to thank you, too. Emma?
He's upstairs, ma'am. I'll get him.
This necklace, I sent it to Madge as a wedding present. I can recognize it by the pendant stone. It's a triangle-shaped ruby.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Gallagher tells me you're going over to England.
That's why Paul and Madge came to take me. I can't help feeling it's my fault Madge is dead.
That's no way to feel. It could have happened anywhere. The killer didn't live here.
What else did you learn about him, Mr. Smith?
The Kansas City police sent us his record. He's been charged with everything in the book.
I'm not surprised.
I'll talk to you again before you leave town, Mrs. Landers.
Oh, yes, Mr. Smith. Goodbye.
Tell me, what else did you learn about this, what's his name?
Monroe. Luke Monroe. Found a lot of money in his suitcase, issued by the Bank of Denver. Can't figure out where he got it.
Oh, I should imagine that he stole it.
Maybe. If he did, he didn't steal it here. Checked into that hotel and never left it.
Thank you for all your trouble, Mr. Smith.
Don't mention it.
They don't know anything.
You should have changed the money before you gave it to Monroe. We've got to get out of here as soon as possible.
I can wind everything up in 4 or 5 days. It's not the police that bother me, it's her. She's been asking me questions as though she were testing me.
She won't catch on if you're careful.
Last night she asked me why my voice was so different. I told her I'd had a bad cold.
You leave her to me. Just do your part without any more mistakes. Nothing must go wrong now.
Nothing will, Mrs. Hunter.
See that it doesn't.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, Mr. Landers.
Good day.
Good day. Oh, hello, Tom.
You said you had some information for me.
Yes, Tom. You know, strangely enough, that money was dispersed right here in my bank.
To whom?
Well, I couldn't rightly say.
Monroe didn't earn it, steal it, or win it, as far as we know.
Well, however he got it, it came from right here.
There's no way of pinning it down any closer than that.
The best thing I can tell you is that we put it out within the month. I'm sorry if it doesn't help you any.
Thanks anyway.
Paul?
Yes, Mother? Feeling better?
Well, I would if you'd only sit and talk to me. We haven't had 10 minutes together.
Oh, we'll have plenty of time for that. On the long train ride east and the ocean voyage later. Mr. Gallagher gave me these papers to read and sign.
Oh, let it wait. Sit down, Paul. Give me your hand, son. In all the excitement, you forgot about the necklace.
Oh, no, I didn't. I knew you had it.
It must be very valuable.
Yes, it is. I suppose I shouldn't have let Madge wear it.
Is it something her father gave her?
Why, no. No, it's the one you gave her as a wedding present.
Oh, it couldn't be. The stone isn't the same. The one I sent her had a square-cut emerald as a pendant stone. You must have replaced it.
Pendant stone? Why, yes. I did several years ago in London. Now, there's many things I have to do, Mother.
We'll talk about it later.
Yes, Paul. Tell Emma I want her.
Mrs. Hunter?
Yes, ma'am? Oh, I want to give Mr. Smith a reward for returning the necklace. Will you bring him to me, please? Why didn't you send your son? He's not my son. He's not my son, and you know it. You know it. He's not my son. He's not my son. Dr. Henderson! Mr. Smith, where's Dr. Henderson?
Well, I don't know, but I'll try to find him for you. What's wrong?
It's Mrs. Landers. She fell down the stairs. She's hurt very badly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Landers.
You might have saved her if you'd come sooner.
She was beyond help. A skull fracture like that, nothing could have saved her. Here, give him one of these. Make him go to bed.
Yes, Doctor.
Where were you when it happened?
In the kitchen.
You know I didn't approve of her coming down those steps alone?
She didn't call me like she usually did.
Well, I'll make the burial arrangements.
Yes, sir. Been better if she died on our way back east. But we had no choice.
Hey, Doc. You seemed a little mad at Mrs. Hunter.
And letting that old lady come down those stairs by herself. It's plain neglect, that's all.
Neglect?
Last time, it only resulted in a few bruises. I warned Mrs. Hunter then.
Strange she'd let it happen again.
She's been anything but a good nurse lately.
Wait a minute, Doc. What do you mean by that? I mean, is there some reason for it? Is there some ill feeling between them?
I don't know. I suppose the fact that Mrs. Hunter is going to lose her job didn't help any.
You mean she's not going to England with them?
Well, that's what Mrs. Landers told me. I don't say it means anything. Come on.
Maybe it didn't mean anything. Maybe what Doc had said about the housekeeper's neglect ought to be forgotten. Unless she had something to gain by Mrs. Landers' death. Mr. Gallagher gave me the answer to that one. Mrs. Hunter was down in the old lady's will for $20,000. And what's more, she knew about it. That was when I sent for Paul Landers. I'm sorry to have to send for you at a time like this, Mr. Landers. This is Chief Richards.
How do you do, Landers? I gathered it was quite important.
Well, yes, it is. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Mr. Landers, why weren't you taking Mrs. Hunter back to England with you?
Well, that was my mother's decision.
Did you know Mrs. Hunter very well?
Quite well.
You've been away for 14 years, I believe.
But I was still living at home in Philadelphia when my father hired her. Why do you ask, Mr. Smith?
Did you know Mrs. Hunter was in your mother's will?
Yes.
For a substantial amount?
$20,000, I believe. Just what are you getting at?
Where were you when she fell down the steps?
In my room. But surely you don't suspect...
You didn't see her fall, so she could have been pushed.
I heard the noise. I ran out. But Mrs. Hunter was not in sight.
The back stairs lead to the kitchen.
Really, now? How could she be sure that my mother wouldn't still be alive to tell me all about it?
It wouldn't mean a thing to some people. There was a chance of them losing $20,000.
Lose? Well, you see, there was no risk of that. She was to travel with my mother to New York. I had promised her the money before we sailed.
I guess that's one on me.
Yes. Your deduction is senseless. I don't want this mentioned to Mrs. Hunter. It would hurt her terribly. She's a loyal, faithful woman. She loved my mother very much.
I'm sorry, Mr. Landers, but in our business, we have to check every lead we can find, and sometimes I'm afraid it does make us look foolish.
Yes, of course. If there are no further questions.
Well, there is just one more thing that puzzled me a little bit. Why wasn't Mrs. Hunter there to meet you when you arrived the other night?
Well, I wasn't quite sure exactly when we'd arrive. I'd only been able to give my mother an approximate date.
I see. That'll be all, Mr. Landers.
Thanks for coming in.
Good day.
You had a good thing going there for you for a while, Smitty. Too bad it didn't work.
Not so sure. You know, he lied about Mrs. Hunter.
How's that?
She knew they were coming in that night. His mother was waiting up for them. Now, Landers comes into a strange town at night with his wife. Gets off a stagecoach and walks down a dark, deserted street. Mrs. Hunter isn't there to meet them. Why?
Well, it could have been an oversight, Smitty.
Yeah, it could have been. On the other hand, maybe it wasn't. George, why don't you take a run over at the bank and see if Mrs. Hunter's drawn any large amounts of money lately?
All right.
And meet me at the stage office. I think Mac maybe will answer a few questions for you.
Thank you. Oh, hi, Smitty.
Mac, I want to ask you some questions. I want you to keep it confidential.
Yeah? For how long? My wife's after me every day, you know.
That's about Mrs. Hunter. She bought a stage ticket to Kansas City lately.
No, but she did go to Dodge City. Twice, as a matter of fact. Once about 2 weeks ago, and before that about, I'd say a couple, 3 months ago, if I remember rightly.
Was she gone long enough to have made Kansas City?
No, not hardly. Just a few days.
You talked to Landers the night he came in here?
Yeah, he gave me a trunk receipt.
Said it'd be along in a day or so. And there it is. Came in this morning.
He seemed surprised no one was here to meet him.
Well, it didn't seem to be. Just picked up his bags and took off with his wife.
You asked how to get to the house?
Seemed to know that.
Three months ago, she took out $1,000. 2 weeks ago, $5,000.
That ties in with the time she went to Dodge. That's halfway to Kansas City, anyway.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
She could have met someone in Dodge. George, I think these two deaths are tied in together some way.
Now, Smitty, I can see where Mrs. Hunter might have had the old lady killed, but I don't believe she'd have someone hired to kill that girl.
Maybe she didn't do the hiring, just put up the money. There's only one answer that makes any sense out of this whole business. Mac, I want to take a look in that trunk.
Well, it ain't legal, you know.
Well, I'll take the responsibility. Can you open it?
I got a bunch of keys that ain't missed opening anything up to now. It's one of them English trunks. All you need is a key close to the real thing and seal snap. What do you expect to find in here, Body? Oh, that won't do her. Try this one here. There you are.
And nothing but women's clothes.
Sure made him travel light. That's Lander's wife, but who's this man?
That's the real Paul Landers.
I don't get it.
Read this, George, and you will.
She really knew how to dress. You could have some of these clothes made over for yourself. Hey. Oh. So that's what Paul Landers looked like.
We better get rid of that.
No, no, relax. The police believe me. If they didn't, they'd be here asking a million questions. Too bad I don't have a picture of myself to put in there. Make me look real good. You know, if I'd had more time, I think she'd have married me.
Mr. Smith. Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
Where's your son, Mrs. Hunter?
My son?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Hunter, we know the real Paul Landers was killed in a London train accident. But you kept that news from Mrs. Landers. Had your own son come here and take over Paul's identity.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Then you had young Mrs. Landers killed, so she couldn't tell anyone about her husband's death. And at the same time, removing the only other heir. You tried to make sure, Mrs. Hunter, that you got everything. Mrs. Hunter confessed that when Paul's widow sailed for America, she'd sent her own son to New York to meet her and to lead her into a death trap in Denver. A greedy gamble on which the housekeeper staked her son's life, her own freedom, and a $20,000 legacy. And lost.